The iPhone 15 Pro Max takes what you thought was possible with an iPhone and then raises the bar another notch. And many of the tricks that make this phone so incredible might not even be so obvious when you first get the phone. So in this video, I'm going to show you more than 25 tips, tricks, and just things you need to know about your iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max. So the iPhone 15 Pro Max has a large 6.7-inch display, and it can be pretty hard sometimes if you only have one hand available to pull down that control center or pull down that notification center without doing some crazy hand gymnastics and possibly dropping your phone. Well, with reachability, you don't need to worry about that because when you swipe down, you get access to the top of your phone and you can easily, no matter how small your hands are, pull down that control center and notification center. So head into your settings and go to accessibility and then to touch, and then right here, the second option is reachability. If that's not enabled, turn that on, and that way, anytime you're in an application or on the home screen or anywhere, you could just swipe down right here from the center of the screen down, and you could get access easily to that control center and that notification center. But it's not just the top area that's hard to reach with one hand, it's also when you're typing. It's hard to reach all the way from the Q and then go back to the P and back and forth. Well, we have a solution for that as well. So tap and hold on the emoji button right down here in the bottom left, and then if you're right-handed or left-handed, go to this option right here and then let go, and now you have a one-handed keyboard. You can type just like so, and then just press this arrow to go back to normal. So the iPhone 15 Pro Max now has a 5x button in the camera application, and that's because we have a new telephoto camera that is exclusive to the Pro Max, and this uses Apple's tetraprism design. Now keep in mind, this is still a 12 megapixel camera, but the sensor is 25% larger than the 14 Pro Max. Now we do have 5x optical zoom and 25x digital zoom, and you'll notice that when you start zooming in, you get a little preview up in the top right hand corner so you can keep track of what you're shooting when you're really zoomed in. Now this new camera also includes a 3-axis image stabilization, which is a first for any smartphone, and Apple claims it's the most advanced stabilization system yet, with 10,000 micro adjustments per second. And this really stands out when you use action mode while zoomed in. It is insane the results you can get. And fun fact, since Apple needed to use more space with the new telephoto lens, the camera layout has also changed. So the telephoto lens is now on the far right where the ultra wide lens used to be. All right, so we cannot go any further without talking about the action button. This is one of the headlining features for the Pro models this year, one of the biggest differentiators between the Pros and the regular iPhone 15s. So what this does is it allows you to go into your settings under action button and map what you want that to do. So now if you press and hold, of course it does turn on the flashlight in this instance, and it can do any of these tasks. And while the default ones here, the preset ones, are cool, I highly recommend you to explore these shortcuts. And I made a full guide for customizing shortcuts for the action button to get things like this, where you have pretty much a second control center where you can do all types of different things. You can replace Siri with ChatGPT. You can do so much. So please set this to shortcuts and just explore what is possible because it is insane. But if you're not going to use the shortcuts and you maybe prefer the camera, there is a little tip here when we have the video selected. So if you have video selected under camera and you tap and hold to go into the video, you can also now press and hold the action button to start recording. So if you press and hold, it will start recording a video and it will stop once you let go. But I will say, if you're not a fan of the action button, or if you just want to double dip and have another action set up on your phone, you can enable back tap. So if you go into your settings and go to accessibility and then to touch and go all the way down to the bottom, we have back tap. And this allows you to set actions based on a double tap or a triple tap. So if I triple tap on the back of my phone, it will open up the camera. So 3 taps and there we go. It opens up the camera. Now I don't need the action button, to go ahead and lead me to the camera because I already have that with the triple press on the back. So you can kind of set up multiple different actions using, both the action button and back tap, or you can choose one or the other. You can pretty much do the exact same things in back tap as you can in action mode because you have all of your accessibility settings and all of your shortcuts as well. Now, something else you need to understand if you have an iPhone 15 Pro or Pro Max is that the USB-C port on the bottom is not just for charging, and it's not just for those fast transfer speeds, because we do have USB 3.0 transfer speeds if you do have a USB 3 cable on the Pros this year, but that's not really the fun of it. I mean, the fun you get out of the USB-C ports is the fact that you can now plug in external SSDs. You can even record video, ProRes video straight to M.2, those external SSDs. You can plug in these super fun little fans that are fully powered by the 15 Pro and Pro Max, and my favorite thing to do is shoot that ProRAW 4Res 60 FPS footage directly onto an SD card using a USB-C to SD card reader. It is incredible. And you can even shoot video in log format if you want to color grade later, straight from the iPhone. That's awesome. Now, the next tip you need to know about your iPhone 15 Pro Max is that it might be made of titanium. It might feel tough, but I don't know if you've seen the drop test here on YouTube or not, but it's not going to survive a drop without a case. And thankfully, our sponsor Casetify can help you protect your investment. So first off, Casetify is not just for cute and trendy cases anymore. They've really stepped it up over the past few years. And last year I showed you their bounce case, but this year they have an all new ultra bounce case for the 15 Pro and Pro Max. And man, does this case have a presence to it. So it has a 6-layer rugged design, an integrated lens protector, ultra reinforced corners, and of course their proprietary EcoShock technology that all comes together to give this case a 10 times military grade rating. And unless you're dropping your iPhone from 32.8 feet or higher, you're going to be protected. I even had trouble getting the paper out of this case, so you know your phone is never going anywhere. But of course, if you don't need all that crazy protection, they also have the bounce case from last year, which is less intense but still ultra protective, along with the classic impact case, which is my favorite, and this is a much slimmer case that also offers great protection. And you know, I said the impact was my favorite, but actually they also just launched a new impact ring stand, which is just a slight variation of the impact case, and this comes with a kickstand that pops out of the camera now, so that may actually be my new favorite. All of these cases are MagSafe compatible, and the design possibilities are endless as they have collabs with Spider-Man, Star Wars, Oreo, the NBA, and many more. And of course they do have their online customizer as well, where you can build out your own case. But I like simple, I'm boring, so I'm a big fan of the basic colors, and I just know that Casetify cases are some of the most comfortable in the hand, so that honestly matters more to me than design at the end of the day. So if you want to pick up a new case for your iPhone 15 Pro or Pro Max, head over to casetify.com/BrandonButch to save 15% off on your order. Now, one of my favorite features about the USB-C port on the bottom of our iPhone 15 Pros is the fact that we can now power other devices and other accessories using the power from our phone. So if I plug this in right here, you will see that the devices will talk to each other and will determine which one has the most battery power, and the one with the least amount of charge will be the one that gets charged by the other. And you can even charge your AirPods, your Apple Watch, pretty much anything is able to be charged from the iPhone. And I mentioned how the iPhone with the most battery will be the one charging the one with the lower amount of battery, but that was only if it's USB-C to USB-C. Now, if you do USB-C to Lightning, so if I plug in a Lightning iPhone right here, it doesn't matter the charge level, the USB-C iPhone is always going to power the Lightning iPhone. Now, there's also a brand new setting that is exclusive to the iPhone 15 Pros this year that you absolutely need to know about. So if you go to settings and then go to battery and then to battery health and charging and then into charging optimization, right here we have a brand new option for 80% limit. Before, we only had optimized battery charging or none at all, but now we have the ability to only charge our phone up to 80%. And you might be wondering, why would you only want to charge up to 80% instead of to 100%? And the answer is simple. It's just better for your battery long term. It's better for the lithium-ion battery inside of your iPhone. Now, you don't want to set it to 80% if you're going to use more than 80% in a day. This is more so meant for those who are not super heavy users and may not use the full 80% in a day, because if you do use more than 80%, it defeats the whole purpose of having this set, because you're just going to have to charge your phone up again throughout the day, and that could count as another cycle in the cycle counts. So we've all been there. Your phone's in your pocket, you're walking around in public, and somebody stops you and says, hey, your flashlight's on in your pocket, and you had no idea that it was on. Well, now you don't have to worry about that, because we get a visualizer up in the dynamic island that shows that the flashlight is on. And if you tap and hold on that, you get the option to turn it off from here as well. So it shows on, and if you press on the little flashlight icon, it turns it off very easily without having to go back into the control center to turn it off. Now, one of the biggest changes to the iPhone 15 camera system this year is that 24 megapixels is now the default camera output, not 12 megapixels. So every year before, 12 megapixels was the quality of when we took a photo with the main lens. It always came out at 12 megapixels, but now it is double that at 24. So I just encourage you to go take some photos and really start pixel peeping. Zoom in on those photos and look at how much better they are than the 12 megapixel shots, even from the 14 Pro Max. It's a pretty big difference. However, that 24 megapixels still is not taking advantage of the full 48 megapixel